My name is Michael Bristow. The piece is entitled Trail of Tears. Well, I did the piece over 15 years ago, 14 years ago, I guess. The theme basically, I guess what you could say would be displacement of native peoples and the misuse of the West. It was very general. And so I've used a central figure that is both a play on a Native American drummer and also an Uncle Sam figure. So there's kind of wrapped up into one person. There's striped pants and the American Uncle Sam hat, and then the buffalo horns and the drum. So it's very ambiguous. And he's floating above a desert landscape where there's a flower that I'd taken from Sunset magazine. And I used the word sunset for the stem of the flower. I'm describing what I'm seeing. I haven't looked at it in a long time. And in the center of the flower is the old Friendly Atom symbol, which I think I got from a Popular Mechanics magazine that I found in my parents' attic back in the 70s. And below that are some images from a kid's book of suburban houses, which are very idealized and a sort of a Dick and Jane kind of picture book that I still have. And the interesting thing to me is that this piece looked entirely different originally, and it was much smaller. And that's actually what I expected to see when I came in here. And I realized when I saw it earlier in the week that I had in fact taken that piece apart and reworked it in a larger scale. And I went, oh wow, I remember my piece now. This happens to artists, I'm sure, especially ones who are poor record keepers like myself. There are no photographs of it, so it was a total surprise. It was like seeing it all over again, you know.
So what inspired you originally, I don't know if you can remember that, to do that piece? Did you in that area?
Well, as a child, I lived with my parents in Albuquerque, very close to Los Alamos, and I was aware of nuclear testing. This would have been the mid-50s. I think we moved in 57 or 58, and so, but I became aware of this much later, and I remember my childhood. My dad was at the Naval Air Station in Albuquerque. So I always have sort of happy childhood memories of the area, and then I have this, you know, looking back, I see that it was different, that the military was a big presence in the Southwest. And so at that time in the 90s, I know that I read In the Spirit of Crazy Horse by Peter Matheson, and I read the Book of the Hopi, and went back and looked over my childhood picture books I have one, a beautiful book, I think it's just called The American Indian. It was a picture book that I believe I was given it after a very serious bout of the flu in 1957 or something. And I still look at that book, and as I read it again later, there's all kinds of interesting things about the ghost dance and peyote use, things that went over my head at the time. You know. But I guess it's something that came out of reading those two books and thinking about my childhood in the Southwest.